Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June the 17th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you got that lasagna today, nice and hot. Definitely hot is like the word of the week right now. There's been a big heat wave, a growing and a spreading. I know, like, internationally, it's been making the news, some of which we're going to cover a little bit today. And then I know also in the States, it's just pretty much been like, nationwide. Like, stay hydrated, stay cool, keep cool. Don't go out, too long if you don't have to, So obviously be careful out there. Like I said, drink some water. Let's see here. As for me, I have been poorly hydrated, but I'm hanging in there. I got some water right now. Got some water right next to me. Let's see. Work was really good. It was a solid day. It was a good day to just, I guess be back. Mainly just because it was really light. It was pretty chill. Just more or less hung out. I will say hanging out with the maintenance dudes at one point got so annoying that I just I tuned it all out. But it was balanced by one of them helping me out with like a really annoying task that would have taken me like a whole morning, afternoon to do. And they came through, one of the guys came through and like actually made it like, I don't know, maybe a 20-30 minute activity instead. So, there's the yin and yang of that for the day. Let's see here. Other than sweating it out and tuning it out, what did we eat last night? What was the food corner? It was a weird, I would say, like, super scran meal, but I loved it. It was very good. So I had some leftover curry sauce that I was determined to use, the red curry. So that was, I would say, like a main component. I had some steak fillets that I used, and then I had some chicken thighs. So I put that together with some rice, and instead of lentils this time, which would have been a better option, I just kind of didn't fully form the thought. I just had some refried beans that I threw in there. So that was the mix of the main entree. And then on the side, I had 2 pieces of toast and a bolillo roll with cheese and capers. So yeah, the capers are back, baby. I kind of missed them. But yeah, it was very yummy. The meal did hit the spot in a certain weird kind of way. But yeah, that was yummy. It was good. I will say I'm back to snacking. I'm just not giving up the ghost. I had some Twix today, and what else do we have? So I had some the barbecue spiral Fritos. Those have been like really heavy in my snack rotation for some reason, alongside the constant snack motif that I've had the past couple weeks of all spicy. So just spicy chips. So yeah, I had those with some hot Cheetos. And a monster. So I've been picking out. But overall, I guess weight check. We're hitting at around 255, 256, probably a little up there. But it is what it is. I feel like okay right now, clocking in at that weight. But of course, I still have this good grand goal of like getting, I don't know, about 10 pounds lighter. But I don't think I'm gonna get there unless I probably get like gym time. I think with the walking and the little workouts I've been doing, it's all well and good, and I think it's been good to kind of help keep me stable, but I don't know if where I'm at, like with what I'm doing, unless I like completely redo my diet, which I don't want to do. Like, I don't think I'm gonna get there. So that's okay though. We've accepted this. Anyway, I know I'm talking a little long. Actually, no, to make a long prelude longer, since sometimes I do like to blog, I will say, as good as my day was, I definitely was like, once again, kicking myself in the ass and up my own shit over like a couple of bad interactions I had on the internet. And I'm like, Isaiah, you gotta stop doing this. And I think sometimes what it is too is that like, if it's a stranger on the internet, okay, fine. That might bother me. It might stick to me a certain kind of way, but I can rub that off because you don't know who I am. You don't know me from fucking Abel. But I think it does sting a little bit more so when it's someone you know. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you being a contrarian in my space, in my time? Like, it makes no sense. I wouldn't do that to you unless I felt it was absolutely necessary. I wouldn't do it for a guffaw. But, I don't know. I also realized that I feel like I kind of came to this conclusion as I was, like, getting through my day. That I'm like, maybe I am just a little too quick to push people away. I don't know. I'm still working that out. I know that there has to be this balance of like protecting my space and like making sure that I'm happy and prioritized in my own way. But I also don't want to be like, trampling over others. I don't want to be like having a tantrum and then saying, oh, I should just exile this person from me, or I should start pushing this person away. So I'm really working on, I guess, that latter part and not doing that and saying like, hey, either saying like, maybe, not confront in like a violent or like aggressive way, but just like you can like talk about a thing that upsets you, whatever. Or you can say, hey, maybe it's just a matter of like, this is a person who might have offended me. Let me just touch base. Let me just see what's up. And like, maybe that might make me feel better. Maybe that might, help me get heads or tails of where they're at, whatever. You never know. And that in its own way kind of helped me today. So I don't know. That was a random aside I figured I'd say before we get into the real news, the good stuff, or the bad stuff, if you will. But yeah, that's my Monday. That's how we're feeling coming out of the weekend. A little good, a little bad, a little happy, and a little sad. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the startup, and we'll go ahead and get into it. All right. Yummy, yummy, yummy. From Al Jazeera, Israel's Netanyahu dissolves war cabinet. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced the end of Israel's six-member war cabinet. Reports on Monday said the Israeli leader had announced the decision at a meeting of the political security cabinet the previous evening. Netanyahu's far-right coalition partners have been pushing for a new war cabinet to be established after the more centrist Benny Gantz quit the emergency government. Nationalist religious finance minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who have demanded Israel must continue its bombardment of Gaza, despite calls for some restraint from allies, including the United States, had called for a new war cabinet to be formed featuring coalition party members. However, Netanyahu had repeatedly turned them down. So yeah, I guess with Benny Gantz and I believe another member who was like really close to Gantz, if I'm not mistaken, they left more or less kind of saying, I guess from Netanyahu's perspective, there's no reason to really keep this anymore. I can just conduct a minor cabinet within my own, political cabinet. So that's more or less what he's doing. This makes it so that he doesn't have to keep worrying about, people on the right saying like, hey, you should expand the cabinet, or in this situation, let us in since now you have like one or two members out. That'll balance everything out and we can just get to the work. And I think essentially with Netanyahu, he keeps trying to play this dance of appeasement of the people on the right, even though like he is lockstep with them at this point. He was even yelling at the IDF for the whole, little transit route on the daytime, like not ceasefire, but pause. He was even blowing down about that. So at the end of the day, they are of the same parallel. They're on the same brain, but Netanyahu's definitely trying to do a little bit of juggling with Benny Gantz leaving, creating a vacuum. But yeah, it's more or less business as usual, but I felt like it was a relevant highlight to cover, so I figured we start with that. Excuse me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really wanted to pull here. No, we got the broad strokes in there enough. By all means, you can hit the Al Jazeera website, get the details if you like. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to some other international news. American tourist found dead on small Greek island. 3 other tourists are missing. So yeah, we're back to Greece. A missing American tourist has been found dead on a beach on a small Greek island west of Corfu, local media reported. The body of a man was found Sunday on a rocky, fairly remote beach on the island of Mathraki by another tourist. He had been missing Thursday by his host, a Greek-American friend. The tourist had been seen Tuesday at a cafe in the company of 2 female tourists who have since left the island. No further details about the victim, including a name or hometown, were immediately available. Mathraki, which has a population of 100, is a 3.9 square kilometer or 1.2 mile heavily wooded island better known for west of the better known island of Corfu. This was the latest in a string of recent cases which tourists on the Greek islands have died or gone missing. A 74-year-old Dutch tourist was found by a fire department drone on Saturday lying face down in a ravine about 300 meters or 330 yards from the spot where he was last observed last Sunday, walking with some difficulty in the blistering heat. So like I said, it is hot all over. I mean, you can blame it on climate change. You can just say, oh, no, it's just the seasons. It's just hot. But I mean, either way, like, you just really got to be careful. I know we talked about Dr. Michael Mosley. Really won't go too much into that because there are more people. On Friday, 2 French tourists were reported missing in Sikinos, a relatively secluded Cyclades island in the Aegean Sea with less than 400 permanent residents. The 2 women, ages 64 and 73, had left their respective hotels to meet. On the island of Amorgos, also in the Cyclades, authorities are still searching for a 59-year-old tourist reported missing since Tuesday when he had gone on a solo hike in very hot conditions. U.S. media identified the missing tourist as retired Los Angeles Deputy Sheriff Albert Calabet of Hermosa Beach, California. The Deputy Mayor of Tourism, Papi Despotiti, told CNN on Wednesday that Calabet has visited Amorgos almost every year for the past 10 years. So very unfortunate to hear people just essentially saying, hey, I just want to go out, get some air, I want to go for a hike, do some exercise, and then they literally die. I mean, you can kind of equate this to, a lot of the people involved are of an older age, but that being said, this heat does not care how old you are, so please just do your best. Stay hydrated. Stay in shaded places when you can. Avoid peak heat. I think that's really a really big factor. Is when you're out, if you're out and about at noon, you should be at your most careful. It is so hot. The shit is beaming down. I know where I live in Cincinnati, temperatures hit over 100, and I don't know if that's including humidity or not. Probably not. That makes it even probably hotter to the body. So, or at least feel hotter to the body. But, essentially, if your body is like, hey, I'm overheating, and guess what? It's overheating. It's like Inception, right? There you go. Or the Matrix. Yeah, except real. Anyway. From, one heat zone to another, we're going back to the United States. Let's see. CNN. Sheriff's Office recovers 11 guns from Michigan splash pad shooter's home. So yeah, there was sadly another shooting that took place over the weekend. I covered the one in Texas. I think that left 2 people dead, 14 wounded. But in this situation in Rochester Hills, Michigan, 9 people were injured in an apparent random shooting at a Michigan recreation center on Saturday, and police are still searching for a motive. Law enforcement recovered 11 guns from the home of the man authorities say opened fire at the Brooklands Plaza splash pad in Rochester Hills, Michigan. But a clear motive continues to elude investigators days later, Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said in an update Monday. So far, we've not been able to uncover any written paper manifesto type of things, Bouchard said. Also, just a quick aside for people who are not in the States, maybe you don't have these kind of things, but a splash pad is just it's like a little park area, but essentially it has a very, it has a little area, a big old square, if you will, where, you can just get wet and there's this constant amount of water spurting around and stuff. When it's really hot in the summer, it's nice just to kind of hang out, almost like maybe even have a little picnic situation, I've seen people babysit kids and that kind of thing, hey, get a little water time, stuff like that, without actually having to be at a pool setting. So yeah, it's definitely a shame that something like this, where you have essentially, a bunch of kids just hanging out, being kids, and it just gets turned into a fucking crime scene like this. Let's read a little further. The sheriff said the gunman, identified as Michael William Nash, 42, from Shelby Township, had 2 handguns at the scene, 1 left behind. Forensics teams also recovered 36 casings at the splash pad, the sheriff said. Investigators have not yet confirmed if he legally owned all the weapons. The shooter pulled up to the splash pad, exited the vehicle, and opened fire from roughly 20 feet away. Let's see here. And then later, he then flees the scene, goes to his home, where he has like more firearms. I think he had like a rifle that was like, I think in like his kitchen area or something like that either he was working on and was ready to go. He winds up taking his own life with another handgun, and that's where they find him. I believe the estate he was living like with his mother. Yeah, Nash, the suspect in the Michigan shooting, was found dead with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound at the home he shared with his mother, after police tracked the weapon from the shooting to an address around half a mile from the crime scene, Bouchard said. I mean, there's really not even like any motive. They talked to a lawyer that he had during his bankruptcy who said he was like a soft-spoken guy. Apparently, he was like a failed business owner, fell on hard times, had medical expenses, things like that. But, I mean, you can go through all that fucking shit. That doesn't turn you into a fucking shooter. You know what I mean? That doesn't turn you into something like that. One thing, though, I did want to note, I think I missed the highlight portion that I usually have here. The weekend's incidents are among more than 200 mass shootings in the U.S. this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. The archive, like CNN, defines a mass shooting as one in which at least 4 people are shot, excluding the shooter. So that's just mass shootings, and we are halfway through this year. That's just mass shootings, I should say. That's not every shooting that has happened in the States. Obviously, there's way more, because we're some real-ass fucking Americans, and we all want to bear arms and use them in all the wrong ways. So yeah, I would have felt remiss to not cover this. I know sometimes I don't cover things unless like, oh, well, someone died or da-da-da-da. Like, at the end of the day, someone is still in critical condition. So there's that. And like I said before, there is a physical and mental trauma that comes from each and every one of these situations that people take with them for the rest of their fucking lives. And that is important to talk about. I feel like that's important to cover. If we're not going to do anything about it, it's the least we can do is yap about the shit and just say like, hey, like, what the fuck can we do to stop this shit? Like, what, like, is there anything? I don't know. I mean, like, if the law isn't gonna, I know there's kind of just doing a little bit of a side here, tangent, with like the bump stock shit. Granted, he used a 9mm Glock. That isn't involved here. Whatever. A gun is a gun. It's going to do what a gun does. But I know, what is it? Chuck Schumer of the Senate, U.S. Senate, is talking about, hey, we're gonna do a vote to try to do a ban. And, okay, let's say this works and passes in the Senate. That's super fucking cool. Love to see that. Not going to work in the House. There's no shot in a Republican-controlled House is going to work. So it just feels like empty air. It feels like grandstanding yet a fucking again. We're chasing our tail in the shit. Meanwhile, every day, someone is dying due to gun violence. You know what I mean? It's either this fucking heat that's going to kill you or a goddamn gun. So, love that. Love that for us. Anyway, let's close out with some good news, some wholesome shit, an end of a scammer, maybe, if you will. At least I hope. Let's see. Let me go ahead and take my last break and we'll get into it. It's a good update. We're going to get religious. Oh, yeah. Ooh. We're back. Ooh. Back in a big way. From Hollywood Unlocked. Bishop Lamore Whitehead sentenced to 9 years in the slammer for multiple scams. Ooh. Lamore Lamar Whitehead has been convicted and sentenced to a 9-year prison term for his involvement in a series of fraudulent schemes, according to the New York Daily Times, or the New York Daily News, I'm sorry. According to the report, Judge Lorna Schofield of the Manhattan Federal Court announced the sentence following testimonies from victims who suffered financial losses due to, excuse me, I'm coughing and burping, being the worst guy, due to Lamar's, I'm not going to say his name right, Lamar Whitehead scams. During the hearing, Whitehead mentioned various city and state officials he claimed to have interacted with, such as the mayor, State Attorney Letitia James, Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez, and the late Ken Thompson, among others, though none were present at the proceedings. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've at least talked a little bit about Eric Adams being involved with this guy. And we all know he's a certified scammer / former cop / politician. Love that for him. Well, the mayor, political figure, whatever. Let's see here. As we previously reported, in March, a jury convicted the pastor from Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in Canarsie on 5 charges, including wire fraud, attempted extortion, making false statements to the FBI, and other offenses linked to 3 distinct scams, which he defrauded numerous individuals of tens of thousands of dollars. One of which I am pretty sure was an old lady from his congregation. So yeah, what a great guy! What a salt of the earth human being, really doing the Lord's work. Yeah, I mean, we initially covered him in the collabo I did with Late Start, and talking about him getting robbed. Though that's still, I put that in quotations because I mean, shit, I don't know if that was real or not with this fucking guy. This dude was just a true matchstick man. But yeah, just happy to say that, hey, we're kind of putting a nail in it here. I mean, maybe there's an appeal that he's going to file and hopefully fucking lose, I would assume. I feel like they got this guy dead to rights. But yeah, I mean, happy to kind of cover it, from tip to stern, or I'm not a nautical man. I don't fucking know. Anyway, that'll be the episode today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. And free ways as well on top of that, if you're not a 90s individual. Let's see, all the socials, you can find me there. Whether it be X, the Everything app, whether it be Meta or Facebook, if you will. You can even find the podcast on TikTok now. We're all over the place. But please subscribe to the YouTube. That's the best way to help out. Another way to contact me, you can hit the comments, I guess. But yeah, leave a like. And like I said, the subscriptions really help. I'm trying to get those numbers up, and up. And then, let's see. Is there anything else I need to say? No. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.